Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Chris Maloney back with you for another edition of CWN Weekly, episode number 34. It's Friday, April the 9th, 2021. It is warm here in London, Ontario, Canada. It's about 20 degrees outside right now. Feels kind of humid, but I mean, it's only 20 degrees and, it's only April. So we've got the summer to look forward to. Tomorrow is supposed to be 23, 25 degrees here, and then we're supposed to get a little bit of a dip. And when I say a little bit of a dip, it's supposed to go down to probably about 15 degrees, so not much at all. But if you listen to the bonus episode this past Wednesday, thank you very much. It was... Obviously, it's WrestleMania week. It's WrestleMania weekend on the horizon. So I want to do a little bit of a bonus episode, so to speak, with regards to going over NXT TakeOver, as well as talking about the WWE Hall of Fame, which I did. And now we're back to regular Friday at 3 p.m., doing episode number 34. So if you're watching, thank you very much. If you're listening, thank you very much. And like, subscribe, all that jazz there. So as always, we go through anniversaries, birthdays for the week. This I've actually got props for. So I just found this out today. I didn't realize this guy was that old. So I just grabbed the t-shirt. But today is the 9th, and it's the 50th birthday of the one and only Anthony Kingdom James. 50 years old today. I didn't realize he was that old, but he's a fine gentleman, handsome genius club. Check him out. Obviously, Heroes of Homeroom C with regards to his comic book, and just a swell guy. I've had the honor of competing with him in the ring, not as a wrestler, but with regards to trivia. Back in Toronto a couple summers ago, but he's just a good human being. I'm going to hold up this. This is props of, if I can get the camera right, of him and Sebastian Suave. That was at a Smash show, so a picture I took, turned it into a t-shirt, and the most important thing on the very bottom there, as I'm probably muffled, if you can kind of, there we go, winners get hugs. So, and then on the back there, I've had both guys sign it as well. But it was kind of cool to hear Slam Wrestling. I found that out earlier today with regards to how old Anthony Kingdom James was. So happy 50th birthday to Kingdom today. And I hope everything's well up there in Toronto. And I can't wait to get to see you again on the Ontario independent wrestling scene. And it's as everybody calls him, Uncle Phil. If you've never seen Kingdom James before, go and search him out on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, or like I said, Handsome Genius Club or Heroes of Homeroom C. And he's on Patreon as well. But check him out. He looks like a mini version of Uncle Phil. And there have actually been Uncle Phil chants, in the crowd at Smash shows. So happy birthday, happy 50th birthday to the one and only Kingdom. On the 13th, Stan the Man Stasiak would have been, I didn't do the math on this one, 63, 21, 84 years old. A lot of people know who Sean Stasiak is, but they're unfamiliar with who Stan the Man Stasiak is, being Canadian at that. But he would have been 84 years old on the 13th. He ended up passing away June 19th, 1997, at the age of 60, and he was born in Arvida, Quebec. And if you don't know where Arvida, Quebec is, north of Quebec City, and consensus back in 2010. 12,000 people. That's all the town has. So 12,000 people. But the one and only Stan the Man Stasiak was born on the 13th back in 1937. And then on the 14th, Gene Kiniski, Canada's greatest athlete, passed away back in 2010 at the age of 81. He was born in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Short story about him is I came to London, Ontario in 1988 for the very first time. And I was sitting in the townhouse complex that my family had moved into. My stepdad's military, so it was the best thing for us, moving into a new city from the province of New Brunswick back in '88. And the next thing you know, I'm sitting around in that summer of '88, and all of a sudden, there's this guy and this old guy, and all of a sudden he finds out I like wrestling, and he goes, I never would have guessed I was a wrestler. And as a kid, I was about 12, 13 years old. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, old guy, whatever the case may be. And all of a sudden he says his name's Gene Kiniski. I don't remember what exactly the guy looked like. It could have been him. But that's my Gene Kiniski story right there, is potentially I met him when I was 12 years old. at the townhouse complex that I lived in. And basically, if it was him, that was phenomenal. And I mean, obviously, as a 12-year-old, I'm watching Hulk Hogan, the Ultimate Warrior, guys like that. I'm not going to, sit there and think an old guy used to be a wrestler, and then all of a sudden later on in life, I'm like, holy crap, So if that actually happened, it was kind of cool. But, that's my Gene Kiniski story there. Unfortunately, some news anniversaries as well as some news that broke today as well. So the 8th, which was yesterday, the one and only Ultimate Warrior passed away back in 2014. I knew the date was close, and then when I went on Google earlier today, I realized it was yesterday, back in 2014. Huge fan of the Ultimate Warrior, all the way back to probably about WrestleMania, I want to say 4, where he had that thing with Hercules. Obviously 5 with Ravishing Rick Rude, SummerSlam '88. Huge fan of the Warrior. Back in the day, there was magazines, and all of a sudden you read about the magazines, especially Pro Wrestling Illustrated, and all of a sudden you see, this guy named the Dingo Warrior, and I was like, who the heck is the Dingo Warrior? He ends up being the Ultimate Warrior. He comes in, castles, everything else, just the face paint, the whole gimmick itself. And I fell in love with the Warrior way back in, the late 80s there. And then obviously he made amends, Hall of Fame back in 2014, that promo on Raw. And next thing you know, he ends up having a heart attack and passing away at the age of 54 years old. Obviously, the Warrior Award is for him. From his speech from the Hall of Fame back in 2014, but again, 54 years old. It's such a sad young age to pass away. But I'm glad he made amends with the WWE before he ended up passing away, and his legacy will live on. Obviously, you can see up top there, I've got a Warrior figure with the championship, the white championship belt, and then just behind me there, I've got his mask that I picked up at a house show back in 2014 here in London. So. I've kept it safe since then. It's one of my prized things that that I own as far as wrestling memorabilia goes, simply because of the fact I picked it up at a house show the same year that he ended up passing away, and that was the same mask that he wore on Monday Night Raw. So it means something to me. Today, earlier announced as well, Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, ended up passing away at 99 years old. Thoughts and prayers out to the royal family out there. 99 years old. What a life. My wife, we got Netflix. She's been watching The Crown as of late. I've been on the laptop, kind of looked up and seen it. I haven't watched an episode, but obviously, when you look at the history and who Prince Philip is, with regards to the royal family, it's a big thing over there in England, even here in Canada as well. But 99 years old, he ended up passing away. And then right before I did the show today, going on air, I found out that DMX passed away. So DMX, 50 years old. I was never really into DMX. I knew who he was just because he was kind of a loud rapper. When people were playing his music, you knew it was him. DMX, as far as his films go, he was in Billy. So Belly, Romeo Must Die, which I've seen, Exit Wounds, Cradle to the Grave, in the last hour. And then basically with regards to, the past couple of days, so to speak, I'm just going to bring it up here. So DMX has spoken openly about his addiction to crack cocaine, which began when he was 14 years old after he smoked a marijuana cigarette laced with the drug. He also said he had bipolar disorder. That was back a while ago. And then basically with regards to recently here, April 2nd, 2021, approximately 11 p.m., Simmons, real last name there, was rushed to hospital in White Plains, New York, where he was reported to be in critical condition following a heart attack at his home, possibly resulting from an overdose. April 3rd, his attorney confirmed Simmons was on life support. Later that day, Richmond stated he was off life support and breathing on his own, but he clarified that evening that Simmons remained on life support and he had been given wrong information. That same night, TMZ, who first reported the hospitalization, stated that Simmons had suffered oxygen deprivation to the brain as paramedics attempted to resuscitate him for 30 minutes. On April 4th, his former manager said he was in a vegetable state with lung and brain failure and no brain activity. April 7th, stated he was in comatose. And then today, basically, it was announced from a statement from his family that he had passed away. So thoughts and prayers with the family of DMX, 50 years old, way too young to be passing away. But three big deaths as far as the 8th with the Ultimate Warrior 2014, and then Prince Philip, as well as DMX today. So thoughts and prayers with those guys there. So, news of the week for wrestling, besides WrestleMania and the WWE. So last time I did the show was Saturday of last week. And since then, there's been big news kind of all over the place with regards to a lot of promotions, one of them being New Japan Pro Wrestling. So NJPW Sakura Genesis report took place last Sunday, Ibushi versus Ospreay, and then Toru Hanare joins United Empire. So courtesy of Post Wrestling, Jado Tongaloa, Tamatanga, so Gorillas of Destiny defeats, actually that's the rundown of the matches here. I wonder if they've got a small little synopsis of who won. They do, but it's I have to go through quite a bit. But anyways, the long story short, Hiroshi Tanahashi pinned Bad Luck Fale. Yoshi Kanemaru and El Desperado lost to Sho and Yo. So Sho did not turn on Yo, and that was interesting there. And what was it? Yo that turned on Sho. Yo didn't turn on Sho. My apologies. Yo didn't turn on Sho, so they already knew IWGP junior heavyweight tag team champions there. So we've got new champs there. And Yo pinned Yoshinobu Kanamori to pick up the victory. The main thing is from this show that I want to talk about here is Will Ospreay is the new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. That is interesting. So dream match for me was Kota Ibushi taking on Will Ospreay. You put the title on the line, like holy crap. Still indifferent about that championship belt there, but the fact is Ospreay is now champion. You cut a press conference. Obviously, you got Kazuchika Okada as well as Shingo Takagi, who look like they're interested in that championship. So it's going to be a sight to see there what they're going to set up. But Ospreay, he's a smaller guy, so that championship doesn't necessarily look small on him. Put it on a guy like Okada, and it's going to be different because the fact is you're used to seeing Okada, you're used to seeing Tetsuya Naito, you're used to seeing guys like Hiroshi Tanahashi with that old school IWGP Heavyweight Championship. But with this new one there, it's going to be interesting whether or not they put the title on Okada. I'll get more to Okada in a little bit here, but the fact is they pulled the trigger. Ospreay is new champ. They've got matches, huge setup for him with Takagi as well as Okada. And I'm interested to see where they go from here. And like I said, if you've ever watched this show, you're aware I'm a fan of Will Ospreay, New Japan Pro Wrestling. So it's going to be interesting with regards to the summer. Message from Jon Moxley was released on YouTube. So with regards to that, he challenged Nagata. So it looks like the IWGP heavyweight championship is going to be put on the line against Nagata, which is going to be interesting there because Nagata is one of those guys that can fight as well. Tomohiro Ishii, Nagata, obviously Minoru Suzuki, guys like those guys are absolutely amazing, and Moxley fits in with every one of those guys. So Moxley versus Nagata, can't wait to see. B. Priestley departing Stardom. So this is interesting here. So when you think about North America, so to speak, and you think about, say, for example, Rusev and Lana, Miro and Lana, you think about people like Aleister Black and Zelina Vega at this point, Taya Trinidad. You don't necessarily think about the people over there in Japan, but the fact is now all of a sudden they had, did that promo with regards to, somebody gave me a smile. Oh, my sister. Thanks, sis. My sister's a big supporter. Well, I shouldn't say big supporter. She's a supporter of what I do the same way I'm a supporter of what she does. So thanks, sis. But like I was saying, B. Priestley competed in one of the marquee matches today at Stardom show. She challenged Hayashi Shida for the World of Stardom Championship, was defeated in the match. Following the belt, Priestley got on the microphone and stated she has love for Utami, Wanatanabe, and the Stardom promotion. Priestley followed that up by thanking Stardom and said it would be her last match for the organization. This was released on April 4th by Post Wrestling. So in saying that, anybody who knows behind the scenes as far as the wrestling goes, know that she's with Will Ospreay. I haven't heard anything about the two of them breaking up, but I know I can't say they have, because the fact is there was released on, I think, Twitter as well as Instagram just recently of Ospreay thanking her kind of for the memories over there in Japan. Rumor has it her heading to the WWE. It's going to be interesting, him being king of Japan right now and her being WWE. her going to WWE potentially. It's going to be interesting. Obviously, she was with AEW at one point. That didn't work out. Ospreay, normally isn't working North America. Normally it's the UK, obviously with Rev Pro as well as New Japan Pro Wrestling. So it's going to be interesting to see her over here in North America to see if he follows suit. Obviously, the forbidden door has been kicked open, but the fact is with COVID-19 taking place, there's not a lot of travel. So if she comes over here, she's over here for a while. You know what I mean? But interesting. Obviously, the angle took place in New Japan Pro Wrestling. They knew what they were doing, and they obviously knew that she wasn't re-signing with Stardom or being part of New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with B. Priestley, and obviously with her, future husband, so to speak, Will Ospreay as champ. It looks like the sky is the limit for both of those guys. G4 and WWE partner for video game competition series premiering on G4 this fall. So when you think of G4 and you also think of WWE, there's got to be about one name that pops into your mind. That's Xavier Woods. So I'm just going to bring up the article here. This was released on April 5th. G4, the next generation network created for gamers by gamers, and WWE today announced that they are partnering. I got to slow down on my words. For a video game competition series premiering on G4 this fall. Program will be hosted by WB superstar Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed. G4's first announced on-air talent and will pit some of the biggest content creators in gaming against each other, playing some of the most popular video games to settle scores with score. So the article goes on. So guys, you can check that out, CWNonline.ca, as well as always with regards to WWE.com. Bad Bunny, Damian Priest look for redemption against The Miz and John Morrison at WrestleMania. So just bringing up the highlights of the week. So that is official now for WrestleMania. So it's turned into a tag team match, which was originally set. And then all of a sudden it was Bad Bunny taking on Miz. And now all of a sudden they've made it officially into a tag team match. So Bad Bunny, Damian Priest taking on The Miz and John Morrison. I think that is night one, if I'm correct. And then followed up by 4 top tandems meet in WB tag team title opportunity on the line. So Naomi and Lana, Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke, the Riot Squad, Natalya and Tamina. I'm going to say this now. So Billie Kay as well as Carmella was released as one of those teams as well. And then they took down the graphics. So it looks like 5 teams. But in saying that, I'm going to say there's going to be 6 teams. I mean, I'm going to do a prediction show with regards to both nights of WrestleMania. But the fact is, when it comes down to it, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say Carmella as well as Billie Kay, our tag team. And I'm going to say, surprise, surprise, it's going to be Charlotte Flair and Bayley hooking up, tagging up to be part of that as well, to go on to win. That's early prediction for everybody there. And going on to win to fight Shayna Baszler as well as Nia Jax. So look for that. Babe, I don't know if I pronounce this right. Baby Rexha. I'm going to say BB Rexha. I've seen the name. I know she's a singer, but I don't think I've ever pronounced her name before. But she's performing America the Beautiful night 1 of WrestleMania. So that'll be interesting there. Obviously, WB going mainstream. They've got Bad Bunny, BB Rexha, as well as a lot of other celebrities taking part in WrestleMania this coming weekend. Reno Scum finishes up with Impact Wrestling. I think I have the article here. It kind of surprised me because they've always kind of been a mainstay, but the duo known as Reno Scum, which is Adam Thorstow and Luster the Legend, have had a working relationship with Impact Wrestling dating back to 2015. After several runs in the company, they are departing Impact Wrestling, as announced by Thorstow on social media. He goes on to say, well, Reno Scum's time with Impact has come to an end. I'm nothing but thankful for everything they did for us. I want to thank the staff and producers, so it's supposed to say producers, and especially the talent is undoubtedly one of the talented locker rooms in the world. Until we see you again, oi, oi, oi. So it's I like the oi, oi, oi. If you listen to the theme song for the show here, it's they actually say oi, oi, oi. I can't give it justice, though. I'm not Aussie. From there, Mickie James, Trish Stratus reacted to the WrestleMania 22 title match. WWE playback. That is officially on YouTube, so you can check that out. Don't think it's up on CWNonline.ca yet. It's been a busy week, but it will be. Greatest Mania matches that never were. This is from Slam Wrestling, and they had a top 10, and I was interested in the article, and when I saw some of the matches, like, holy crap, that's right, that didn't actually take place. So courtesy, like I said, slamwrestling.net. Number 10, they got listed Bret Hart versus Kurt Angle. Number 9, the Road Warriors versus Demolition. Now these are WrestleMania matches, by the way. Okay, obviously Road Warriors as well as the Ultimate Warrior, so Legion of Doom, took on Demolition, 3-on-3, but it was never officially Demolition and the Road Warriors Legion of Doom at WrestleMania. So that's number 9 on the list. The Undertaker versus Andre the Giant. Holy crap! You talked about dream match, and I love the way they have summaries, predicted winners, and they go, as Gorilla Monsoon used to say, they broke the mold when they made Andre Rene Roussimoff and Mark William Calloway, otherwise known as the Undertaker and Andre the Giant. Terry Funk taking on Mick Foley. The Rock taking on Ric Flair. Geez, you talk about dream matches. It makes me want to get out the video game system right now and just create some of these. Shawn Michaels taking on The Rock. Vince McMahon taking on Eric Bischoff. Steve Austin taking on Hulk Hogan. Ricky Steamboat taking on Ric Flair. Obviously, that's happened, but it's never happened officially at WrestleMania. You imagine Steamboat and Flair at WrestleMania? They always talk about Steamboat Savage, but Steamboat Flair would be absolutely amazing. And you got Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair, which was supposed to take place, and I'm going to date myself right here because I'm old, but was supposed to take place WrestleMania 8. They put trials out on house shows. The feedback, the media wasn't too big on basically the match between Hogan and Flair, which is why they turned it into Savage, Flair, Hogan said justice, and then all of a sudden you got that one guy in the back of me there, the Ultimate Warrior, who came back that night, and I went nuts. I went nuts to the fact to the point my mom was like, "Calm down," It's like, and then. Anyways, WrestleMania 8's it's one of those big WrestleManias in my heart, just because of the Warrior and everything I mentioned earlier on as well. So that would when you think about it, it's all those WrestleMania matches I just mentioned, courtesy of Slam Wrestling. It's a dream card right there, but unfortunately they never happened. You could put on Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Goldberg as well. I don't think I mentioned that one, but anyways, dates reportedly set for WWE Money in the Bank as well as Backlash. So post WrestleMania, guys, yes, there are still pay-per-views taking place on Peacock. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say I'm glad I'm in Canada, because everything I've heard with regards to Peacock in the States is not healthy. A lot of negative publicity with regards to Twitter as well as Facebook from fans. But anyways, it is what it is. I'm in Canada. I get the WWE Network on Rogers, so I'm happy. Next two WWE pay-per-view dates have reportedly been announced. PW Insider reported this afternoon that this year's Money in the Bank event will take place May 16th, Backlash following on June the 20th. So those are the next two dates for WWE pay-per-views. And I don't think they're exclusive anymore, so it'll be a mix of Raw as well as SmackDown there. News of the week as well. Boxing legend Mike Tyson returned to AEW Dynamite this past Wednesday. So that officially did take place. I'll get into that when I talk about the highlights. Kane's red hot speech helps set WWE's historical Hall of Fame class of 2020 and 2021 induction ablaze. I'm going to say this right now, guys. I'm doing this, and I'm going to say this is why announcers and reporters and newscasters go through trials, and even when you're doing TV, read things out loud first before they actually announce them live. And I'm just starting to figure that out. Some of the names, it's no big deal, right? But with regards to it's just some of the words when they're mixed, it's like Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. Yeah, I can say that, no problem at all, because I've said it a million times. But with regards to Kane's red hot speech, I've got to pronounce it out properly. But anyways, if you want to check that out, guys, you can check it out. So CWN did, obviously, like I said, the bonus episode. You can check out my thoughts on the Hall of Fame. I took down notes, so you can check out everything I thought about the Hall of Fame with regards to every inductee. But with regards to it, definitely check it out. Like I said, the bonus show is available on YouTube as well as Facebook as well, CWNonline.ca. See, I can't even pronounce my own website properly sometimes. Stardom releases first round matchups for the annual Cinderella tournament. You can check that out on Post Wrestling. I'll have it up on CWNonline.ca. Within probably the next day or so. Like I said, it's been a busy week. And where are we here? I'm pretty organized this week with regards to my notes. I'm not always perfect, but one of the ones I want to bring up was this, because this is big news. And obviously WrestleMania weekend taking place, but WWE President Nick Khan, Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch will return. That is huge. So during an appearance on Colin Cowherd's podcast Wednesday, WWE President Nick Khan said both Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch will return. So this news broke on April 7th, so 2 days ago. Talking about WrestleMania 35, when Rousey versus Lynch versus Charlotte Flair headlined the show, and the popularity of female wrestlers in general, Khan made a point to say Rousey would return at a certain point in time, and Lynch would return at a certain point in time in the not too distant future. So the article goes on there. With regards to that, there was a follow-up, and the follow-up was released today. So I'm going to bring that up just now, if I can find it, and here it is. Update on Becky Lynch's potential return to WWE, so April 9th, and this was released just earlier this afternoon. So at one point, as plans were discussed for WrestleMania 37 that would feature the return of Becky Lynch, and plan that might begin to take form on Friday's WWE SmackDown. So that would be tonight's SmackDown, by the way. This week's Wrestling Observer newsletter, now I've got a cat in front of me. Dave Meltzer reported that the plan was for Bayley to do the Ding Dong Hello interview segment at some point during the weekend that would see Lynch make her return by driving a big truck in. That also explains Bayley seemingly not booked for the show after a year when she was women's MVP. As noted, the SmackDown roster member isn't booked on either night of WrestleMania, and tonight's pre-tape show is the final one before the festivities kicked off Saturday. She hasn't wrestled since a late February six-woman tag team match. Recently said in an interview that she's not injured and there were no plans for her, despite pitching several non-title grudge match ideas. So I'm going to say this, guys. I'm going to say, as much as that article makes sense, forget about it. It's one of those things where, Becky Lynch, if she was planned for Mania, she's planned for Mania. And they've switched plans. That's all I got to say with regards to that. They've switched plans. With regards to Ronda Rousey, obviously she's trying to have a baby, she's trying to have a family. And fact is, she might have gotten to a point where all of a sudden it says, it's time to go back to wrestling. With regards to Becky Lynch, I think plans have changed for her. I think we're still going to see her this weekend. With regards to Bayley, what I've said. I think Bayley, Charlotte Flair are going to win the SmackDown, not the SmackDown, but the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship there. I've got to say that. I'm going to stick to it as well. From there, guys, WWE Superstar Edge shares his WrestleMania 37 shoulder workout. There's an interview up right now with menshealth.com. Chris Jericho's top opponents, WrestleMania moment, and more. Broken Skull Sessions Extra that is available on YouTube right now. It's kind of interesting who he names. And obviously the interview is coming up with Stone Cold this coming Sunday. Frankie Monet ready for NXT reveal on Tuesday. And that was released courtesy April 7th. So night one of NXT TakeOver. So obviously Taya Valkyrie is making her debut for NXT this coming Tuesday. NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver night one media call notes. You can check that out on F4W Online as well as Post. Trish Stratus would have put Charlotte Flair number one on the WWE Women's Top 50 list. As much as I love Trish Stratus, I've got to agree with her not being number one. And that is not a knock against her. But when I saw that list, I had to shake my head at some of them. Obviously, it's a list by WWE and WWE only. But with regards to it, it is what it is, right? I think I said that last week as well. But she was on Busted Open with regards to Trish Stratus. She goes, I don't know. Honestly, that is a bold thing for them to put out a list. Lists are subjective. I don't know who is behind the list. Like, did my mom vote? I don't know. But internally with me and my team, we were kind of like, I knew there was a top five, and I was just grateful to be top five with these amazing athletes. And I actually thought for sure Charlotte Flair was going to be number one. That's where I put her. But I don't know. I got the number one spot, and it was a little crazy when they put that package together, and you get emotional and you go back on that ride, and they positioned in the way they did. If you saw the package, it was just like, okay, I think it was just the time. I mean, I was lucky, of course. Look, I say I only got the accolades or anything that I got was because of the people that surrounded me, and including someone like you, Bully Ray, obviously being interviewed by, like I said, Busted Open. So it goes on, it continues. But what Trish said first was my thoughts exactly. Lists are subjective, and they are. And it's nothing to take away from who put out the list. But when you're attaching that to WWE.com, the biggest wrestling website for the biggest wrestling company in the entire world, I mean, that's to me, like I said, I shook my head at some of them, and when you think about how much Trish accomplished from who she was when she began to who she was when she ended, Yeah, there's a huge turnaround. And one of my favorite matches of all time was her taking on Charlotte at SummerSlam. And I'm actually, SummerSlam shirt rocking right now because of the fact that I've got WrestleMania shirts, but they don't fit anymore. So anyways, I'm rocking the SummerSlam shirt. But the fact is, that was one of my favorite matches of SummerSlam 2019 was Trish versus Charlotte. Anyways, but it is what it is. And to know that Trish is speaking out against it as well means something. John Pollock on Twitter. Jean Broussard has announced that he and Raymond Rougeau are no longer providing French commentary for WWE broadcasts. So I'm going to put it like this shortly, or not shortly, but simply. The fact is Peacock has taken over. And they basically have kicked the two of them to the curb. They have been there forever, and I don't think it's right. But it's politics, and it's USA Network and NBC and all that sort of jazz. Who has missed WrestleMania? Great WWE debate. One of the three taking place right now on YouTube. So that took place yesterday. Country singer Ashlyn Kraft to perform America the Beautiful on night 2 of WrestleMania. You guys can check that out, WWE.com. I think articles CWNonline.ca as well. But she'll be singing America the Beautiful night 2. Legendary WrestleMania Rivals WWE 2K Battlegrounds Top 10 that was released yesterday on YouTube. That's up on CWNonline.ca as well. Two of them that are focused in the Battlegrounds game. As far as that clip goes, The Undertaker taking on Brock Lesnar and The Rock obviously taking on Hulk Hogan. As you can see, the DVD behind me there. And I think I mentioned that DVD. I went to my friend's wedding in 2002. And I was in, I think, a Rogers or a Blockbuster and saw it. And I saw it live, obviously, in 2002 at Skydome, Rogers Center for anybody who knows it as now. But the fact is, when it comes down to it, yeah, that's anyways, I'm rambling. So, but it's WrestleMania season. It's WrestleMania weekend. So I'm excited. Great WWE debate. Greatest NXT TakeOver superstar ever. That is another one up on YouTube right now. AEW Unrestricted. Frankie Kazarian is the guest as of yesterday. I haven't listened to it yet. It's been a busy week, but Kaz has been around for a while. Obviously, Impact Wrestling, ROH, AEW, but he was in Christian Cage's first AEW singles match there. So that's you check that out. But I forgot he was in that cigar company with regards to Cody Rhodes, and apparently he knows how to play bass. He's into heavy metal music and this and that. But Kaz is always one of those guys who's always kind of been behind the scenes. As far as wrestling, like he's never really been main event, but he's always had that talent, and he's honorary Canadian. He's married to Tracy Brooks. So that's how I had to mention Kat as well. Join the WrestleMania TikTok challenge and put yourself on the greatest stage of them all. You can check that out, cwnonline.ca. Not big into TikTok. I mean, I'm aware of it. I've seen videos on it. Some of them make me laugh. Some of them make me shake my head, but it's, it's TikTok. It's for the younger generation. I am not young, by the way. You can see the gray in the beard. Dark Side of the Ring received season 3 premiere date in May, followed up by a trailer that was released as well. So this I'm going to bring up because, I talk about TikTok, but then I talk about Dark Side of the Ring. And when I talk about Dark Side of the Ring, these are the names I know. So courtesy of postwrestling.com, Vice TV has announced that the season 3 premiere of its popular Dark Side of the Ring series is set for next month, with 14 episodes scheduled. Series will resume on Thursday, May 6th with a 9 p.m. time slot with its largest season to date, covering a wide variety of subjects. In the press release, Vice TV confirmed 6 of the subjects will be Brian Pillman, another honorary Canadian, Nick Gage, the Collision in Korea shows, The Ultimate Warrior, Grizzly Smith, and Tom, the Dynamite Kid Billington. So for those people here in Canada, last season it was on Crave. I believe it's going to be on Crave again. But May 6th is the official date, and I'm looking forward to it, specifically with regards to the Ultimate Warrior, of course. But Brian Pillman, as well as the Dynamite Kid. I grew up watching Stampede Wrestling, Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling as well. Stampede Wrestling, that was my Monday nights. That was my Monday Night Raw back when I was a kid. So obviously Dynamite Kid, Brian Pillman, I love Pillman. And, all of a sudden he goes to WCW, WBE, and then the Dynamite Kid. If you look behind me over here, you can see the British Bulldogs, the LJN figures. A huge fan of the LJN figures. Behind them, it's they get their hands up in front of his face, but it's Jesse the Body Ventura. It's WrestleMania, and his voice is attached to a lot of big moments in WrestleMania. So I had to put the 3 of them behind me there because I had no room over here. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting May 6th, and I think they go an hour long, if I'm correct. And if you have the Crave app, you're able to stream it without commercials. I know I have Amazon Fire Stick in my bedroom, and the fact is I was able to watch the whole thing without commercials. I think if you watch it actually on the Crave TV or whatever the case may be, I think there's commercials in it, so I don't know if they're going to change that up. But anyways, yeah, May 6th next month, so look for that. Winnipeggers, episode 38, songs you almost know the words to. That's interesting. I haven't seen it yet, but that is released on YouTube, courtesy of the one and only Chris Jericho. Dreamer adds to Extreme lineup for Hardcore Justice. So I'm going to wait on that because I'm going to do a prediction show. So I'll talk about Hardcore Justice, obviously, tomorrow when I do the prediction show there. Myers accepts Cardona's challenge, X Division title 3-way official for Rebellion. So is Brian Myers taking on Matt Cardona at Rebellion April 25th, as well as you get Josh Alexander. I think it's TJP. I'm going to bring up the article here. I know Josh Alexander is definitely one of them. And then you've obviously got Ace Austin as it's TJP in there as well. Ace Austin defending the title. So that's going to be a cool 3-way there for the 25th of April. From there, NXT TakeOver Sin is delivered night 2 media call notes available at f4wonline.com, as well as post wrestling. Triple H provides medical update on the Road Dogg Jesse James. The Road Dogg Brian James, he's going by his real name now, said he's been on headset from home. So I'm going to bring up that. So it's obviously, if you've heard the show, you know that the Road Dogg suffered what was a potential heart attack there. Why don't I have it in front? Oh, there we go. Like I said, I always look for the favicon, and I was looking for a different favicon, but then also I realized it's courtesy of Fightful, so it's obviously a different favicon. Triple H, this is a release today, by the way, provides update on Brian James following his medical issues. March 27th, Tracy James, the wife of Brian Road Dogg James, says her husband was hospitalized on March 25th, most likely suffering a heart attack. On March 30th, Road Dogg commented on his condition following his return home. To God be the glory. I live to tell the story. I've headed home. I want some work to do. I've got some work to do and some changes to make, but I'm up for the task. I want to thank each and every one of you for your thoughts and prayers and your kind words. So many reached out with positive vibes, and it overwhelmed me. Overwhelmed me with love. Thank you for all that. God is good. Let the journey begin. And then a lot of hashtags as well. And then Triple H commented, I want to mention that Brian James, Road Dogg, has been home. He's been recovering, but he's healthy. He is good. He's recovering at home. He is doing well. We had him set up, so he was on a headset over the last 2 days being involved. As he gets his strength back and everything feeling good, he will be back at it being the Road Dogg in no time. Just wanted to give a shout out to him, and we gravely miss him here. He will be back soon enough, but is doing well. So, good thoughts on the Road Dogg there. He is recovering. And he's a heavy part of NXT as far as the backhands go. So him, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and then William Regal, of course, as well. WrestleMania week list of shows, matches for Friday, April 9th. You can check that out for the schedule, postwrestling.com. WB.com editors' predictions, who will win at WrestleMania, their predictions as far as WB officially for the editors there. So you can check that out, WB.com, obviously. Greatest WrestleMania title changes ever. Great WWE debate. So another one up on YouTube. And some of the pictures that were posted as far as the graphic goes were Kofi Kingston, I think Stone Cold Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, and then Daniel Bryan. Right there, it's to be a toss-up. Shawn Michaels beat Bret Hart. So being a little bit partial. If you look behind me and you've seen any of these episodes, you see a Canadian flag behind me. It's Bret Hart always holding that Canadian flag front and center. So it's hard to pick Michaels, even though it was a great Iron Man match that I recently watched WWE Network, by the way. Then you got Kofi Kingston, Kofi Mania, but then you got Daniel Bryan versus Stone Cold, and that'd be a toss-up because you obviously Austin beat Michaels at WrestleMania 14, and then Daniel Bryan beat Triple H, and then went on further to beat Randy Orton as well as Batista. So it's interesting. But it's a toss-up. It's the great debate, but it's guys from the Bump, as well as I think Drake Maverick's part of that. So guys, check that out. I'm going to show you guys this. So I'm always curious, and they always usually do a big thing with regards to Triple H and Stephanie, as well as Vince McMahon, on building the set for WrestleMania, as well as showing pictures and welcoming people to the set. They couldn't do it last year, obviously. It was a different feel. But this year, they've managed to, social media, of course, have clips and everything else of what's going on with regards to the set there. So just before I was on the air, I saw an article and went to Twitter and found the picture. So guys, I'm going to bring this up here so you can check this out. I'm going to get rid of the banner so you can check this out fully. But that is currently the WrestleMania setup going on there. So you can see the ring obviously being in the middle. It's it's an outdoor stadium, so obviously they're gonna make sure that if it rains, whatever the case may be, these guys are protected. It's I'm loving it. It's a very early picture. You can see the ramp here. I don't think you can see the mouse, but you can see the ramp. You can see what looks to be the big pirate ship that they were planning for last year over to the left-hand side, and you can see the ring right there in the middle. So it's early setup for WrestleMania there. But guys, it's a blessing. I'm loving seeing it because of the fact of what took place last year, and then knowing that WrestleMania is actually taking place this year is absolutely phenomenal. So. I'm loving it, and I'm excited, and I'm gonna be like a little kid all over it again tomorrow night watching WrestleMania. So it's gonna be huge for me and a lot of wrestling fans out there. Highlights of the week. So we got AEW Dynamite took place last night. So Hangman defeats Matt Caster. Promo Shivani, Death Triangle, and the Best Friends. Promo with Inner Circle. Backstage promo Dasha and Christian Cage. Jurassic Express defeats Bear Country. Video promo by QT Marshall, Aaron Solo, Anthony Agogo, and Nick Comoroto. Obviously, their new group there, but they had thrown paint on the Nightmare family's wall at the gyms, so to speak. So QT's looking like a badass heel, which is kind of cool. Then we get a promo with Shivani, Sting, and Lance Archer. Darby Allin defeats JD Drake to retain. Then we get a promo with Alex Marvez and Jericho. Jericho gets his butt beat by Pinnacle. They've locked the rest of the Inner Circle in the room. They finally get out, breaking the door down, and then Mike Tyson's part of that as well. So Mike Tyson, unofficially part of the Inner Circle. He's kind of he's on their side right now. Anyways, backstage promo with Shivani and Britt Baker. Britt Baker says there should not be anything big with regards to wins and losses. Everything should be about T-shirt sales and something else. It was Britt Baker being Britt Baker. And then Ty Conte defeats the Bunny, and then Omega and the Good Brothers defeat Moxley and the Young Bucks, where the Young Bucks kind of look like they turned heel again, as opposed to doing the Too Sweet at the end. They end up doing that's better. The Too Sweet at the end. They end up doing a big hug in the middle of the ring. So it's be interesting to see how it plays out. TakeOver Night 1, Zoe Stark defeats Toni Storm in the pre-show. Pete Dunne defeats Kushida. Bronson Reed won the Gauntlet elimination match for an NXT North American title opportunity on night 2. NXT UK champion Walter defeats Tommaso Ciampa. That was an amazing match, by the way. Walter's still champ. MSK defeats the grizzled young veterans and Legado del Fantasma to win the vacant NXT Tag Team Championship. That was expected, but it was weird because I was watching the match and I was like, holy crap, MSK is not actually going to do this. It looked like at one point Legado was going to do it. And then next thing you know, it looked like in another point where all of a sudden Grizzled Young Veterans, GYV was going to do it as well. And then next thing you know, MSK, hit their one of their finishers and end up, winning the titles, and completely grateful and, a genuine reaction as far as winning the championships go. So good for them. From there, we go into Raquel Gonzalez in the main event, defeating Io Shirai to become the new women's champion. I figured she was going to win the championship, but the way it was done, Shirai looked absolutely insane, as she always does. At one point, she jumps off the skull. She's doing moonsaults. She's hitting things left and right. But at the very end, Gonzalez was just way too powerful, hits that one-hand choke slam of hers, and then she ends up breaking down with emotion as well. So, cool thing to see Raquel Gonzalez to be champ. Dakota Kai was ringside originally, and then next thing you know, she gets the boot because the referee caught her interfering. So, but Raquel did it on her own, which was cool as well, to make her look strong. NXT UK Prelude, Tyler Bates defeats Noam Dar in a Heritage Cup Championship #1 contenders match, defeats him 2-1. one. I haven't seen this yet, but it looks like Mustache Mountain has come back together. There was a shot of Tyler Bate as well as Trent Seven backstage. I haven't seen it yet, but it looks like Mustache Mountain might be making a comeback. Michael Setamara as well as Amelia McKenzie defeats Kaylee Ray and Isla Dawn. So McKenzie got the pin on Isla Dawn there, and then Walter defeats Rampage Brown. He goes back to back in championship nights, and he's retained the title, and still it's. I'm gonna say this. It's gonna be interesting to see who they finally put Walter up against to have him drop that title. But if I were to make an early prediction, I'm going to say Harry Smith, so Davey Boy Smith Jr. I'm going to say he is the one to take the title off of Walter in a surprise appearance. And they can't just do it on a regular TV show. They've got to do it at something huge. So it's just a matter of time, I think. Impact Wrestling this week, Rosemary Grace and Havoc defeats Tennille Nevaeh as well as Alicia. Coming soon to Impact Wrestling, Let's Get Wild. Can you imagine who that is, guys? And the promo that they showed, you can see specifically who it is from the side profile of her face. So Taylor Wilde is back with Impact Wrestling. It's only a matter of time before she comes back to the company. It could be even tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, she is officially back with Impact Wrestling, which I'm loving. And check out her podcast, Wild On. She's had a lot of people on there as of late. She goes every week. I think usually at Mondays. I think it's Mondays at 5 p.m. I could be wrong about that. But yeah, she's on podcasting right now, as well as she's making her return to Impact Wrestling, which is cool. From there, Cardona and Jake Something went to a no contest. Sami Callihan, Trey defeats Triple XL. Sammy tried to celebrate with Trey at the very end of the match, but Trey wouldn't have anything of it. Sabin defeats Diener, and then Swan, Mack, and Edwards defeats Omega and the Good Brothers. Swan got the pin on Anderson. So if you see the actual photo that's attached to the results, it looks like Omega is just kind of in shock, and then the face is obviously kind of looking like they're strong there. So good showing going into obviously Rebellion as well as Hardcore Justice tomorrow night. So good show for Impact Wrestling there. And then last was NXT TakeOver Night 2. Killian Dane, Drake Maverick defeat Breezango for an NXT Tag Team title opportunity on the pre-show. Santos Escobar defeats Jordan Devlin to become the undisputed NXT Cruiserweight Champion. That was amazing. It's interesting because of the styles. It was a classic kind of match, but then all of a sudden they got hard hitting into the ladders, everything else. And then at one point they're up at the top of the ladder. Escobar hits this huge headbutt. Jordan Devlin falls back and then basically goes through a ladder. And it's like, oh my God, for a guy his size, and I've been, within inches away from the guy at his show, and he's not the biggest guy in the world. So for him to go through that ladder, it was kind of insane. I kind of marked out at my TV. But at the end of the match too, Legado ends up coming out. They helped during the match, but then they come out at the end with, it looks like, Escobar's son, and Escobar put the mask on his son, the old school mask, and then basically put one of the championships on his shoulder. And Twitter was kind of confused. It was kind of like, are we still supposed to boo this guy, But it was a good match, and obviously good, strong showing for the undisputed champion at this point now with Santos Escobar. From there, we go into, where are we here? NXT Women's Tag Team Champions Shotzi Blackheart, Ember Moon retain against The Way. North American Champion Johnny Gargano defeats Bronson Reed. That was a good match because of the fact you had Johnny Gargano, being as small as he is, but as gifted as he is, taking on just Bronson Reed, who's just absolutely massive. He reminds me of Bam Bam Bigelow, but just absolutely massive. And he's only 5'11", so he's not the biggest guy in the world, but he can fly too. And that's why I relate to him to Bam Bam. And then semi-main event, Karrion Kross defeats Finn Balor to become the new NXT champion. That was expected. It was a lot of back and forth with regards to Balor, and Kross would hit him, and all of a sudden Balor would be smiling, and then it just got to be too much for Balor, where all of a sudden Karrion Kross just got PO'd, and then basically beat Balor up to the point he couldn't even continue, and it was lights out, and that's all it was to it. So Karrion Kross, your new champion, and great for him. It's going to be good to see when the title run, but it's going to be interesting to see who they put up against him first. And then Kyle O'Reilly defeats Adam Cole in an unsanctioned match. Crazy match. Might have been went a little bit too long, but they had a lot of spots. It was interesting because it didn't end until like almost 10:30. And I'm thinking to myself, but then I was like, wait, they're not on USA right now. They're strictly on Peacock and WB Network, so they can go as long as they want to. But crazy match. Cole had to be stretchered out. O'Reilly at one point looked like he wanted to do further damage to Adam Cole, and then kind of just glared at him and then left the ring. And Adam Cole was down and out. So good, strong showing for Kyle O'Reilly there. Ratings of the week: Raw 1,701,000, match last week 0.52 in the 18 to 49 demo. First for the night, Canada, they were 227,200, 133,800 in the 25 to 54 demo there. AEW 688, 0.28 in the 18 to 49 demo. Fifth for the night, did not make the top 10 here in Canada, so did not have 103,500 viewers. Sorry, 103,500 viewers. NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver night 1, 768, so they beat AEW. 0.22 in 18 to 49 demo, so not as strong as AEW. 11th for the night, and then Canada, they were outside of the top 10 as well. Impact ratings should be out within the next probably 10 to 20 minutes. It's 10 to 4 as I'm recording this. So Impact ratings for their first Thursday night, so their return to Thursday night will be out sometime soon. From there, we go into previews. SmackDown tonight. Not happy about the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal being part of it, but it is what it is. Universal Champion Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, and Edge to address the WB Universe. SmackDown Fatal 4-Way Tag Team Championship match and the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal taking place tonight on SmackDown. Pre-taped, excuse me, by the way, so it's not going to be live, but I haven't seen any spoilers, so I have no idea. But I'm going to say Baron Corbin wins the Battle Royal. I don't know if the same answer as last week, and I'm going to say we have new tag team champions in with regards to, I don't know if I want to go Otis and Chad or if I want to go the Mysterios. The feel good moment. It's no, it can't be Otis and Chad because they're heels. So yeah, I've got to go Mysterios. I'm going to say Mysterios and new SmackDown tag team champions tonight. And like I said, Baron Corbin to win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. New Japan Strong tonight, taking place 10 p.m. New Japan World. USA, New Japan Cup 2021 USA first round. Clark Connors taking on Leo Rush. Ren Narita taking on Filthy Tom Lawler. Fred Rosser taking on Hikuleo. And Brody King taking on Chris Dickinson, which is going to be huge there. And I believe Chris Dickinson and Brody are part of the stable there in ROH. I just realized that, so that's interesting there. And then MMA pro boxing, I haven't really looked into a lot of it this week, but one on TNT, one took place on the 7th. That is available on YouTube as well as CWNonline.ca for the video. But if you're looking for some Singapore mixed martial arts action, you can check that out. Like I said, YouTube as well as CWNonline.ca. So that is it for pro as well as MMA as well as pro boxing, with not a lot of news. But my whole focus, guys, this week has been with regards to WrestleMania and NXT and everything else going on in the world of pro wrestling. Next week will be a little bit slower. Thank God. It's been but I mean, it's one time a year, so it's enjoyable and I'm loving it. But yeah, from here we're gonna take a break. I'm gonna get some water into me, as I always say. And I'm going to cut some promos here from Ryan Knight as well as Dirty Duke Durango, which I will update probably within the next couple of weeks as well. But guys, check these out. We'll come back and talk about some Canadian independent wrestling here. So sit back and relax.
Are you a pro wrestling fan? Do you want the latest info on shows and the stars that appear throughout Ontario? Are you looking for information and insight into the independent wrestling scene? Want interviews and information on the big leagues? Then you want Knights of the Squared Circle with Ryan Knight on Coyote 103. Ryan has his finger on the pulse of wrestling in Ontario on every level, and he brings that to you every Sunday at noon. Listen for your wrestling fix with Ryan Knight and Knights of the Squared Circle, Sunday at noon, only on Coyote 103.
Hey, are you getting tired of the grind? Getting tired of the same old, getting tired of living in an echo chamber? Well, if you are, tune in to the Duke You Suck podcast with Duke Durango. We'll be talking wrestling, sports of all kinds, politics, medicine, whatever else we want to get into. What I'm really looking for is for you to go on a journey with me. Perhaps we find some common ground and hopefully have a laugh along the way. So watch this space for the first episode dropping soon, the Duke You Suck podcast with me, Duke Durango.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. As always, talk about hashtag WeAreCIW. Stands for simply We Are Canadian Independent Wrestling. CanadianIndependentWrestling.ca is the official website to forward you to the Facebook group. Like I always say, keep it clean, but get on there and promote. It is free membership. It is private group, so I just want to make sure that people who are joining the group are not spamming. Are there to promote their gimmick, their website, their podcast, interviews, their promotion, whatever the case may be. But like I said, it is free membership. So CanadianIndependentWrestling.ca forwards you to Facebook. As long as you get a Facebook account, you're all set up. But it's tough right now in the province of Ontario, as it has been since March of last year, because of the fact nothing's going on. They announced another stay-at-home order here in Ontario just recently. I know Alberta's going through stuff, Quebec's going through stuff, British Columbia's going through stuff, but it's perseverance. Only a matter of time before we're back to normal. It could be another year, it could be 6 months, could be 3 months. We don't know, but at least everything's heading in the right direction as far as vaccinations go. With regards to who's in charge, that's a different story altogether, but we'll leave it at that. But everything taking place on YouTube this week that I'm aware of, and if I'm missing out on something that you're doing online, simply let me know. Get in touch with me on the Facebook group or Chris at CWNonline.ca. Easy to reach there. So Clandestine Society Act 2 Episode 1 was released on the 4th, courtesy of Backbreaker Media. So check them out there. The link is up on CWNonline.ca as well as YouTube. The Duke You Suck podcast, episode number 7 with Red Thunder, that was released on the 6th. I love his podcast because at the very beginning, it's always like, Duke, you suck. And I mean, you've heard me, say the same thing over and over and over again, but the Duke You Suck podcast, I just love the name of it. That was, like I said, released on the 6th. ECCW Hidden Gems, Nicole Matthews taking on Sharif Morrow, was released on the 6th as well. So this is old school ECCW. That was originally from September 28th, 2019. SWJ, what that stands for? It stands for Steven's Wrestling and Journey, the one and only Steven Spice. Turnbuckle Talk with Steven Spice and the unstoppable new nickname for him, TJ Wilson, aka Tyson Kidd, on the that was released yesterday. You can check that out on cwnonline.ca. Steven Spice went I shouldn't say almost, but he did go an hour with Tyson Kidd. So I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, but I will. But it is up on cwnonline.ca. So Turnbuckle Talk with Steven Spice and the unstoppable TJ Wilson. So check that out. ECCW Hidden Gems again, released yesterday. This is from the same date, so September 20th, 2019. Fergie taking on Eric Strange. Vidcast 47 released yesterday as well, featuring Amber Nova. That was released yesterday from the one and only George Mackay of Straight Talk Wrestling. And then today, just as I was about to do the show, I went on to YouTube, and Psycho Mike versus The Rock is back up on YouTube. So that's Backyard Pro, Season 1, Episode 1. Re-released, I should say, today on YouTube. I'll have the link up on cwnonline.ca sometime over the weekend, but it was basically a new promotion that was out there, Backyard Pro, and a lot of, a lot of wrestlers here in Ontario that got together to put together these series of shows. They've got Season 3 coming out soon. I don't know the official date yet. Maybe I'll have to do an interview with one of the guys from Backyard Pro just to get some backstory on everything as a whole, the talent, the nicknames for the talent. For example, Alexia Nicole was Detective Cookie Dough, and it's stuff like Psycho Mike versus The Rock, which was interesting. It's actually Psycho Mike Rollins versus a physical Rock, so you can just imagine that. But like I said, I'll have it up on cwnonline.ca. Sometime this weekend, but you can check that out on YouTube. Just simply search for Backyard Pro. Released every single Tuesday, 6 p.m. on cwnonline.ca, exclusive to the website, courtesy of the one and only Stephen O'Neill. It's Slugging with Stephen O'Neill, featuring the Night Train, Just Insane, that was released this past Tuesday on the 6th. So you can check that out. Slugging with Stephen O'Neill, featuring the Night Train, Just Insane, that was released this past Tuesday. Next one's coming out Tuesday, obviously 6 p.m. of next week. And thoughts and prayers with Stephen and his family. He just recently lost his grandmother. I just want to give a shout out and say I'm here for you. And thoughts, prayers, and strength are with you and your family, my friend. And then from there, CanadianIndependentWrestling.ca, like I said, is the official website to go to there. From there, as I've been doing lately, Canadian Wrestling Network. So CanadianWrestlingNetwork.ca, social media, you can check that out there. email is simple, network@cwnonline.ca. The tagline that goes along with it, One Nation, One Network, Canuck Proud. And I'm very proud of the network itself. We've got a good core of group members, so to speak. I'm going to look to add to that next week throughout the end of April, and then going forward through May. It's been WrestleMania week, so it's been busy. But I got a few shout outs this week from some members just thanking me for what I do, and I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I love your guys' content. I love everything you add to the network itself. If there's anything I can ever do further, let me know. If you want to be part of the network, it is free. So anybody out there with a podcast, a website, a YouTube series, an interview series, if you're a wrestler here in Canada, if you're a promotion here in Canada, you want to be part of the network, it's simple, network@cwnonline.ca. The way it works is basically you have YouTube content. I make sure it's posted on the Canadian Wrestling Network account. I make sure it's posted on the website itself, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. That's my job to make sure people know about what content that you're posting. If you're a member of the Canadian Wrestling Network, you can trust me to make sure that your content's being promoted. And this is even before COVID's done, you know what I mean? When the wrestling shows hit again and everything's back to normal, you'll be seeing me do a lot more with regards to the Canadian Wrestling Network at shows, doing live interviews, doing live podcasts, and it's been enjoyable. And like I said, CanadianWrestlingNetwork.ca, network@CanadianWrestlingNetwork.ca. It is free to join, and just let me know that you want to be part of it. In saying that, somebody who is part of it is I launched this, and I've been wanting to do this for a while, and I've had a couple of interviews lined up. Timing wise, it's been a little bit tough because WrestleMania week and everything else, but I've had 3 interviews lined up, still looking at dates for 2 of them. But I launched CWN Interview this past, and what was it, 2 days ago, I believe? No, yesterday. I did the interview 2 days ago, but the interview premiered yesterday on Facebook and YouTube, 5 o'clock yesterday, with the one and only George Mackay of Straight Talk Wrestling. So we went an hour. I didn't expect to go that long. I had a list of topics, nothing really in particular. So just stuff I wanted to talk about, something I wanted to ask, and then we went from there. But we went over an hour with this interview. Very good interview with George Mackay. He's killing it here in Canada as far as his podcast goes. As far as his interviews goes, he's got a unique style as far as what he does. I wanted to pick his brain. I wanted to find out, how he gets the excitement for doing this. Because with him, it was different because it's not just like, hey, how did you get into wrestling? And then there's an answer. Hey, how long have you been? It's not like that. He's such passion, such an energy for doing his interviews. And he put it best when I did the interview with him, with regards to, it's not necessarily questions and answers, it's a conversation. And, it's some of the stuff we talked about was some of the hardest interviews he's had to land, his bucket list as far as interviews go, some of the easiest interviews he's had, a lot of stuff, talking about the Ontario independent scene, as well as pet peeves. One of his pet peeves was with regards to people out there providing content of their own, but not supporting anybody else. And I 100% agree with him. And he didn't drop any names, which was great. But, as a podcaster, there's other fellow podcasters out there. You don't necessarily have to like them, but you kind of have to get along. And, with regards to George, he's one of those guys who puts it out there. He leads by example, so to speak. And one of his taglines is collaboration over competition. I 100% agree with that. So check that out. Like I said, CWN Interview, George Mackay, premiered yesterday on Facebook as well as YouTube. Check that out. We went over an hour and it was an enjoyable interview with him there. Guys, from there, last but not least, and I'm just going to bring up the banners again so it's easier for you guys to find here. So CWN Weekly episode number 34 is what I'm doing right now. But there's a lot of stuff coming up, and so I'm gonna list it right now. CWN predicts Impact Wrestling Hardcore Justice 2021 premiering tomorrow at 12 p.m. on Facebook as well as YouTube. So obviously the show itself going tomorrow at 3. With regards to the actual pay-per-view, the iPay-per-view, WrestleMania takes place at 8, so they're not going to compete, which is smart. But you'll see the prediction show for Hardcore Justice 2021 taking place tomorrow at 12 p.m. on Facebook as well as YouTube. Followed by prediction show WrestleMania 37 Night 1. tomorrow premiering 3 p.m. on Facebook as well as YouTube. CWN recap night 1 for WrestleMania. That's going to be sometime on Sunday. Obviously, WrestleMania is going to go at least 3 hours, so it's finding the time to be able to do the recap show, but it will be up there, and you will see it posted on CWNonline.ca as well as social media. CWN recap as well, so Impact Wrestling Hardcore Justice 2021, that will take place as a premiere as well on Facebook and YouTube, but just be a matter of when, but it will be out sometime on Sunday. CWN predicts WrestleMania 37 Night 2, that will be Sunday, April 11th, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, premiere on Facebook as well as YouTube. So guys, check that out on Sunday for Night 2. The recap for WrestleMania 37 Night 2 will be Monday sometime. That'll be another premiere on Facebook as well as YouTube. And then we're back next week for CWN Weekly, episode number 35, Friday, April 16th, 3 p.m. live on Facebook, Twitch, as well as YouTube. And just quickly, top 10 WWE WrestleMania events of all time. Number 3 launches today at 5 p.m. Eastern on CWNonline.ca. My top 10 so far has been this. So number 10, WrestleMania 1. Number 9, WrestleMania 10. Number 8 has been WrestleMania 3. Number 7 was WrestleMania 24. Number 6 was WrestleMania X7, so 17. Number 5 on my list was WrestleMania 19. Number 4 on my list was WrestleMania 28, featuring The Rock and John Cena. And number 3 is released today, 5 p.m. CWNonline.ca. So guys, check that out, and check out CWN Weekly online social media. We've got separate accounts for the show itself, so you can check that out: Twitter, Instagram, as well as Facebook, as well as YouTube, by the way, for CWN Weekly. So as always, there I am at Chris Maloney CWN. Check me out on social media. It's I'm all over the place, so I'm not hard to get in touch with, but a lot of prediction shows, recap shows coming up this weekend. Look for those. And like I said, if you want to be part of the network at CWNonline.ca. As far as email goes, and if I can find it here, first email is feedback at CWNonline.ca. That's for the show itself. Any thoughts, any guests you want to see me interview, bring them up as well, but feedback at CWNonline.ca. And then there's my personal email address for the website itself, Chris at CWNonline.ca. Hit me up with anything at all, and I'll be sure to make sure I answer you. And again, at Chris Maloney CWN on social media. But guys, that is it. It's been enjoyable. It's been long, but it is WrestleMania weekend, and I am excited. A lot of shows coming up this weekend. And like I said, episode number 35 coming up next Friday itself. So guys, enjoy WrestleMania this weekend. Enjoy all the other shows that go along with it, and enjoy Hardcore Justice taking place tomorrow as well. And it's an exciting, long weekend. I can't stress that enough. But it is WrestleMania weekend, so enjoy it. It only comes around once a year. So that is it. If you're watching the prediction and recap shows, thank you very much. If not, I'll see you next week for episode number 35. Thanks, guys. Take care, and we will talk soon.